There's something about Taipei. It feels alive, but unhurried, like it's waiting for you to notice its quiet beauty. Today is all about exploring the local side, getting lost in the city and immersing myself in its rhythm. So today is my first full day in Taipei. We're looking for a good, authentic breakfast spot, trying possibly the best coffee in Taiwan, and exploring neighborhoods that were once ranked top 40 coolest in the world. Okay, maybe I lied a little. We did hit a semi-touristy spot for breakfast, Fuhang soy milk. I say semi-touristy because it used to be for locals, but now tourists have made it overcrowded. Apparently locals prefer to go elsewhere for a quick breakfast, but I still think you should check it out. It's one of the oldest, most iconic traditional Taiwanese breakfast spots in Taipei. I will warn you though, the line is insane. When we were there, we ended up waiting 45 minutes.
So it's like one queue here, then you go around the block again, then you go into the market, you go around again. Oh my god. How many people do you think are here? Like 100? More?
I don't know, like
200?
ish. What 100?
200?
Around the block, yeah, maybe.
Well,
This thing is it's called Xiaoping.
yeah.
This is this thing, like a Chinese thing.
Xiaoping.
Xiao.
Xiaoping. Ooh, it just
They,
looks like yao
they
zhao
put it, yeah, they put yao zhai
Is that Taiwanese sausage? Wait, so that's just carbs.
That's just carbs.
But luckily it gave me some time to wander around and warm up my eyes. The lighting outside was too good to pass up. Soft, warm, and making the color of Taipei streets really pop. I love the contrast between the saturated light, the sky, and the urban textures. It felt like the city was waking up alongside me. The photos felt so vibrant and expressive, with a bit of a film vibe, and that's what I love about this kind of photography. It's not about chasing the perfect shot, it's about noticing what's already there. The way the morning light spills over a quiet alley, the interplay of colors and shadows. These little moments feel fleeting but eternal at the same time.
We got up early, it's like 9 a.m. We're at a Taiwanese breakfast place. It's still like an hour queue. I left my girlfriend to go queue, which is a bit selfish, so I'm gonna go rush back in a little bit. I'm learning a bit more about myself as I film and vlog in public. Yeah, I'm less comfortable even vlogging around my friends, so I would like to find these places that are kind of like alone so I can shoot and film. Yeah.
Once inside, we ordered a spread of typical Taiwanese breakfast dishes: tanping, soy milk, xiaoping youtiao, and a few others. The flavors were familiar yet distinct. We get stuff like this in Malaysia, but the difference was everything felt balanced, less oily, less heavy, but still very, very satisfying. It's definitely up there with my favorite types of breakfast, even though I don't really eat breakfast that much, because it doesn't overwhelm you and it leaves you feeling ready for the day. Alright, after that carb-heavy start, we definitely needed coffee. Simple Cafe is supposedly one of the best coffee places in Taiwan, if not Asia. They really took the opportunity to flex their multiple awards everywhere, and they had a large selection of coffees from espressos to cold brews and pour-overs. For me, it was a little expensive, and to be honest, I can't really taste the difference between that and a regular barista coffee. The place was cool though. They had maybe 10 baristas working at once, which was impressive. The cafe was way too full, and on a day like today, I definitely prefer to sit outside. Luckily, there was a cozy spot near Huashan, the 1914 Creative Park. So it was once a winery, now it's a hub for art and events. The space was incredible. Low-rise buildings, greenery blending into the architecture, and it gives you this sense of calm that makes you forget you're in the middle of a city. What really stood out to me first was the architecture. The buildings aren't tall at all, maybe 3 or 4 stories, and the integration of greenery everywhere makes it feel so natural. It's like the space is breathing. The way the light filters through open areas and the thoughtful use of space and negative space, it all feels so organic. We grabbed our coffee, found a spot to sit, and just watched the city unfold around us. It was a weekend, so families, couples, and groups of friends were out enjoying the day. People out with camping gear, picnic blankets, dogs, just hanging out. It was very different because you don't get that kind of stuff in Malaysia all the time. Even though we were in the city, it didn't feel like it. There's a relaxed confidence in how life unfolds here. Unhurried, unbothered. It's a reflection of Taiwanese culture, I think. Warm, open, yet self-assured in its own rhythm. Okay, next stop, Zhongshan. It's a neighborhood as cool as it is historic. So back in the day, it was the center of Taipei's urban development, and you can still feel that mix of old and new. At one point, it was even named one of the top 40 coolest neighborhoods in the world, and I can definitely see why. Narrow streets lined with 2 to 3 story buildings, with that Japanese influence peeking through. And I just found this out during the trip, but Japan used to have a colonial rule over Taiwan, which is why there's such a close relationship, and you can really see the cultural influence that Japan has had on Taiwanese culture. There's a timelessness to this place. Older, traditional Taiwanese aesthetics blending seamlessly with modern, minimalistic concrete designs. It's a dream to wander here and to get lost in all its layers. I love thrifting, so I had to check out some of the secondhand stores in this area. One thing I did notice is that thrifting in Taipei isn't exactly cheap. Most of the places felt curated, with higher prices and a heavier focus on women's clothing. But I did stumble across one spot that stood out. Beyond just having reasonably priced clothes, the interior had this retro vintage vibe that felt very authentic. It wasn't overly designed. They had plywood shelves, really simple furniture that looked like it was from the 60s, but it definitely had this homogeneous character. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name, so I can't really recommend that to you guys.
Oh my god, that's so painful. I literally spoke for like 5-10 minutes and it wasn't recording. Great. We've been walking all day, so we just went to get some coffee. Decent coffee. Cafes here are beautiful. I was just saying, so after we left the park, we went to this place called Chufengjian. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this hipster district. And it was beautiful. It was lovely. I found it super sick. It's like small Japanese roads, like you would get in, like small roads that you would get in like Japan and Seoul. But the architecture was very like Southeast Asian, Vietnam, Thailand. So it was like a mix of Bangkok and Vietnam with Japan and Seoul. And it was like the best of, I guess, both worlds. It blew my mind. I loved it there. My favorite thing about it was not just the architecture, but how everything felt very homogeneous and put together and genuine. Like it was built from this like generational culture that has had time to grow and develop and become its own thing. It was fucking sick. I am so impressed by Taipei so far. I mentioned earlier, but I think easily probably top 5, maybe 3rd favorite city that I've been to right now. I'm actually super inspired by being in Taipei. I've taken the best photos I've ever taken, or my favorite photos I've taken to date have been in Taipei.
We ended the day in Da'an district. Da'an has this quiet charm to it. It's a mix of old and new, like much of Taipei, but with its own distinct vibe. A bit more hip, a bit more modern. You can tell the younger generation of Taiwanese people spend a lot of their time here. The streets are lined with trees, the pace is slower, and there's a definite warmth to the way people interact here. But the same can be said across the whole city. You'll find boutique shops, cozy cafes, and these small moments of life that feel so uniquely Taiwanese. Taipei has this way of pulling you in. It's not just the sights or the food, though those are definitely amazing. It's the way the city feels, to me at least. It's a place that invites you to slow down, to pay attention, and to see the beauty in the everyday.